Hi, it's Amy from Cakes with Faces. Now, one of the things I always recommend people do in Tokyo is get a view of the city from an observation deck. It's so beautiful with all the skyscrapers. But what if you could also wake up to a view or enjoy the bright lights of the city when you get back to your room at night? So today I've got a selection of Tokyo hotels with a view, and along the way we're also going to have some tips for booking your hotel. Now, whenever I've looked up lists of Tokyo hotels with a view, lots of them are so expensive. Like this one, the Park Hyatt in Tokyo, which is the hotel from Lost in Translation. It looks absolutely stunning, but it's also so expensive and probably out of most people's price range. When I've been planning my trips, I've come across several hotels that have good views, but they're a bit more affordable. Now, these aren't the cheapest hotels, so they're probably not for a budget trip. Obviously, if a hotel has good views, they know people are going to want to stay there, so they're going to make you pay for it. But these aren't so expensive that only millionaires can stay there. I'm not going to go into prices too much, partly because they're all over the place at the moment, but also because they vary at different times of the year and even on different days of the week. But it's pretty easy to look up prices on hotel booking sites or even on Google. And my Japan travel guidebook has lots of tips for booking hotels. The link for that's in the description. And full disclosure, I haven't stayed in all of these hotels. I would love to spend a couple of months testing out all the different Tokyo hotels for you. I have stayed in some of them, and if there are any that you have experience of, share what you thought of them in the comments, and also if you've got any other recommendations that I've missed. It is worth mentioning that a good view isn't always guaranteed. You could be on any side of the building and you might not get a room that's very high up, but I think these are a pretty good bet to get that view you want. First, we're going over to Shinjuku, my favourite place to stay, with the Prince Hotel, and this was actually the hotel I booked for my cancelled 2020 trip. It's in an excellent location right by Shinjuku station. It's actually connected directly to the station by an underground shopping mall called Shinjuku Subnade. So if it's a rainy day, you don't even have to go outside to get to the station. It's a tall building without other tall buildings next to it, which is what you want for a good view. I often check this on Google Maps or Google Street View. And because it's right next to the train tracks, some rooms might have a view of the trains coming and going at the busiest station in the world. When you're choosing a hotel, an excellent site to look at is Fish and Tips. It's fishan.tips/en. It has really detailed reviews and loads of pictures, which really helps when you're choosing which one you want to stay in. When they stayed at the Prince Hotel, they had this stunning view of all these skyscrapers in the main area of Shinjuku. Next is the Shinjuku Granbell Hotel in Kabukicho, which is temporarily closed, but it is temporary currently till the end of the year. I have stayed here, and when I look at it now, the view isn't as stunning as all the others, so I did wonder whether to include it or not, but I was definitely happy about it when I stayed here. It's certainly a lot better than a lot of Tokyo hotels I've stayed in. I enjoyed looking at all the skyscrapers and bright lights, and there's a rooftop bar with a view as well. It's on the more affordable end of the scale of all the hotels I'm mentioning today, and compared to other hotels in this price range, it is a bit more stylish. It's nothing really fancy, but the bathroom's quite nice, and everything is just a little bit more stylish than the minimum basic look. It's also in Shinjuku. The local station is Higashi Shinjuku Station, which isn't as well connected as the main Shinjuku station, but it is a lot smaller and calmer. You won't get lost in this one. Next is the Hotel Gracery Shinjuku, also known as the Godzilla Hotel, because it has Godzilla on the roof. It's a perfect location in Kabukicho, right in the middle of everything, and it's a really short walk to the station. I loved staying here. It's in the Toho Cinema complex. The hotel starts on the 8th floor, so you know wherever your room is, it's going to be quite high up, which is a great thing to look for if you want a room with a view. This view made it really hard to leave and say goodbye to Tokyo. It was lovely. You could see the trains at Shinjuku Station and a view of all the skyscrapers. There's a video on my channel all about it, including the view from the terrace, because if you're a hotel guest, you're allowed to go out and stand right next to Godzilla. Next is a new hotel in Kabukicho called the Hotel Groove Shinjuku. It's in a new building which is going to be the largest hotel and entertainment complex in Japan. It's the one I mentioned last time in my Japan news video. The hotel's on floors 18 to 38 and it's opening sometime in 2023. Prices aren't available yet, so I'm guessing maybe it could be quite expensive. But there will be also another hotel in the building called the Hotel Star, which is even higher up. So I'm guessing the Hotel Groove is going to be the less expensive one of the two. Now, moving slightly away from the main area of Shinjuku, next is the 100-stay Tokyo Shinjuku. It's a tall building all on its own, which means good views. As well as normal hotel rooms, it also has little apartments with extra bedrooms, which is good if you're going as a family or as a group and you can share the cost between you. Some of them even have bunk beds, like this room for 6 people. It looks like these apartment-style rooms are the ones on the very top floors with the very best views. Some of them even have a bath with a view, so you can sit in the bath and enjoy a view of Tokyo while hoping there's no one around with a telescope. There's not so much going on directly around this hotel on the street. It does look a bit plain, but it's just a short walk to Okubo Station and Shin Okubo Station, which is on the JR Yamanote line. Always useful. And Shin Okubo is Koreatown, so there'll be lots of shops selling K-pop merch, cosmetics, and Korean food. So you could have cheese corn dogs for breakfast every day, if you want. Now, moving on to Ikebukuro and the Sunshine City Prince Hotel. Ikebukuro is another major area of Tokyo. I always tend to think of it as a bit out of the way as somewhere to stay, but it isn't really. It doesn't take long to get from there to other major areas, and there is a lot going on there. Sunshine City is a huge shopping mall. It's also got other attractions like an aquarium, a planetarium, the world's largest gachapon store, and the Pokemon Center. And this hotel is part of the Sunshine City complex, so you've got all of that right outside. At this hotel, you can choose how high up your room is. Usually you pay a bit more for floors that are higher up, but that does guarantee you a better view. And these are pretty good prices. It's cheaper than the hotels in Shinjuku. And something else to look for if you want a good view is this city view icon on Expedia. In 2019, they renovated one of their floors for anime fans. It's called Ikepri 25, which at first I thought was a strange name, but then I realised Ike comes from Ikebukuro and Pri comes from Prince, and it's the 25th floor, so Ikepri 25. Their aim was to create a dreamlike experience surrounded by your favourite things. At the moment, they've got rooms themed around the sports anime Blue Lock. I think the rooms could be more themed, but it's not bad. And there's also 4 shared lounges where you can watch anime and pose for photos, and there's a themed afternoon tea. It's actually not that expensive for the rooms considering. At the moment, they're about 20,000 yen per night. Now, moving over to Shibuya and the Shibuya XL Hotel Tokyu. Shibuya is another major area with loads of shopping and nightlife, and it's a great location to stay in. This hotel's connected directly to the station, so it's right in the middle of Shibuya with loads going on. You can specifically book a room on the higher floors, and there's a chance you might get a view of Shibuya Crossing. I don't know if any of the rooms have views of the crossing, but they have a picture of it on their website from the hotel, so I think there's a chance you could get that view. If you want to book this one, there is something to watch out for. This hotel is called the Shibuya XL Hotel Tokyu. There's another hotel called the Shibuya Stream XL Hotel Tokyu. Why would you have 2 hotels with such similar names? And this isn't the first time I've come across something like this. Once when I was in Kyoto, I even went to the wrong hotel because there were 2 hotels with really similar names. The one with Stream in its name seems to be slightly more expensive. It's in a fairly new building called Shibuya Stream. The hotel's on floors 9 to 13, so that could also have really good views as well. And if you're on the right side of the building, there's a chance you may get a view of Tokyo Tower. Next is the Sequence Miyashita Park, which is a new hotel that opened in 2020. It's also in Shibuya, just a few minutes walk from the station. It's right by Miyashita Park, which is a new long thin shopping complex with a park on top. And the hotel's right by the park, so the bottom floor of the hotel is already a few floors up. It's a tall building away from other tall buildings, and that means you're likely to get a good view. And you might even get a view of the park. Next is the Park Hotel in Shiodome, which is over on the other side of the city near the crossing to Odaiba. This area doesn't really have quite as much going on outside, but it has a really modern feel to it with elevated walkways and the bullet train going through. And you can easily walk to Shimbashi and Ginza, which have lots more restaurants and shops. This is the hotel I stayed in on my very first trip to Tokyo, and it was lovely. I was definitely spoilt. It has quite large rooms for Tokyo. It was really comfortable, and this large lobby that feels really upscale. It has glass lifts so you can see the view as you're going up, which is really cool. I took this video of it over 10 years ago when my camera wasn't very good. Thank goodness I didn't do YouTube then. But I think you can still see how stunning the view was. And yes, that was the bullet train going past. From our room, you could see a view of Tokyo Bay and Hamarikyu Gardens. It was fantastic. You can also book a room on the other side with a view of Tokyo Tower. The price of this one does go up and down a bit, but you might be lucky. At the moment, there are rooms for £100 a night on some random dates I picked, which I think is pretty good for such a good hotel with large rooms. Now, if we switch to the other side of Tokyo Bay, there are hotels in Odaiba with views of the bay and the main city of Tokyo itself, which is a beautiful view. Like this one, the Hotel JAL City Tokyo Toyosu, which has a view from the bath for only £67 a night on some random dates I picked. Or the Hotel Trusty, what a name, in this unique looking building. It looks very Odaiba. There's lots of interesting architecture here. Hotels in Odaiba can be more spacious, at better prices, and have a good view. But personally, I would think twice before staying there, just because it's slightly away from the main city. So whenever you want to go somewhere that isn't Odaiba, which is going to be most days, you're going to have to take the train over the Rainbow Bridge. It's not that that's a long journey or that it even takes very long, but it's just not that convenient. And every day you're going to be spending that little bit of time and money on the train when you could be staying somewhere more central. But that is an amazing view. And finally, and maybe the best view of all, depending on your opinion, is the Hotel Miracosta, which is actually inside Tokyo Disney. The buildings of the hotel actually make up the Mediterranean harbour section of Disney Sea. When I stayed there, I could see the volcano that's the centrepiece of the park. I could see the fireworks from my room and see what was going on in the park when it was closed and everyone had gone home. Now, this one's not really in the affordable category, but it is really a treat to stay there for a night. So tell me if you've stayed in any of these hotels or if you have any other recommendations. I'm sure there's lots more. And there's lots of tips for booking your hotel and your whole trip in my Japan guidebook. The link's in the description. And I'll see you not next week, but the week after on Thursday. Bye bye.